Yo, have your kids intentionally chosen Jesus? Like for real, the young people you minister to, or if you're a young person yourself, is it like somebody told you about Jesus and you're just following like whatever they said? Or have you intentionally recognized who he is? In this episode of Word Up, I am speaking to a group of young people that are in a difficult situation and challenging them to know about the person of Christ and choose him for themselves. Now, before we start, I just want to apologize for the sound. I realized the little mic that I usually clip to myself was left on the podium, so you'll hear it kind of go in and out. But I felt it was important to share this message with you guys so that you can adapt it for your own ministry. Let's check it out.
In the beginning was the word up.
So, hey, when psychologists know this, like people know this, like everything, when I say a word, when something happens, there's a picture that comes to your mind, right? So, for example, if I say the word vacation, a lot of people, the image that came to their mind is like a beach. Some people, it's like, hey, I just want to lay down, do nothing, right? Right. Usually, it's something different than your everyday norm. Do we agree with that? Give me an answer. Good. Okay, if I say the word school, there are different images that come to your mind. Some people get upset, they will suck their teeth immediately as soon as I say school, right? Maybe think of a book bag, think of a notebook, different things like that. And this is brands. If I say McDonald's, immediately you think the M, those arches, right? If I say Nike, the check comes to your mind. Do we agree on that? Now, if I say places and areas, similar thing. If I was to say Compton, sometimes we think people. You might think like Kendrick, you might think like NWA, you might think different things like that. Right? Now, you can keep going with all of these images, these pictures in your mind. And if I'm real with you, and if we're real with each other, the same thing happens when I say things like church, when I say things like prayer, when I say things like Jesus. There's a picture that comes to your mind. How many of y'all agree that there's some kind of image that comes to your mind? Now, some of us agree with this image. Some of us are like, yeah, no, okay, cool. Like we have a good feeling that comes up when we see this thing in our mind. And there's others of us that just like, no, I have a negative image that comes to my mind. Right? So I want to talk from this idea and this thing about images. Everybody can say picture, picture, picture. Say picture again. All right, dope. Now, have y'all ever seen like there's these things they're called they put like a picture somewhere and like some people see one thing and other people see another thing. Like there was that one that went viral years ago, it was like a dress. People were like, it's different. What color do you think it is? And people were arguing online about what color the dress was. You know what I'm talking about? Well, you see something that's like an ink, right? It's just only black and white and it's an image, and you look at it and you're like, okay, some people see one thing and other people see another thing. Do we agree? Yes? Alright. What about music? How many times you like heard a song, you're like, oh, this is fire. And you hear somebody else like, nah, that's trash. Like, it's just, y'all have a different perception of the thing. Yes or no? Alright. Now, this, whether it's pictures, whether it's music, whatever it is, specifically with pictures, we would call this an optical illusion. You know, say that optical illusion. In psychology, an optical illusion is a perceptual experience in which the information gathered by the eyes is interpreted by the brain in a way that differs from objective reality. That's a bunch of big words to just say that sometimes what you see isn't really what's there. And who here's ever woken up in the middle of the night, it's dark, and you look, you see something like shadowy, and you like turn on the light, and it's not there. Whatever you thought was there. Right? How many of you have felt something, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, there's nothing actually here. Sometimes our brain plays tricks on us. Matter of fact, if I was to be real with y'all right now, if I was to rewind the tapes, again, I said this in my opening, I didn't grow up in church and that kind of stuff. I didn't even think I was going to be alive at this point in my life. Like, if I look back, and I'm like, hey, I remember when I was a teen. I remember like walking down the street and just being so upset about what happened to my parents, about what happened in my neighborhood. That I would like see somebody walking across the street and be like, yo, I should just go walk up in this dude and punch him in his face right there. He didn't do nothing to me. I didn't even know him. You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, I was like, yo, I could do something. And if I look at where I'm at now, back to where I was then, I'm like, yo, There's a perception change. There's a thought process that's changed in my mind. Now, that's what an optical illusion is. But what it does, I want you to repeat after me. It says it reveals how our brains interpret reality, not just record it. It exposes the limits of our perception, and it teaches us about our perspective. So I want you to turn to somebody, give them a high five, give them a dap, pound, whatever, just say, we all see different. All right, let's try again. Turn to somebody else and say, we all see different. So I remember watching this movie, and trust me, I'm gonna make sense of all of this in a moment. But like, I remember seeing this movie, and I don't know if anybody has watched like different. Who's this like comedy movies? Anybody like funny movies? You want to laugh? Who here likes action movies? Some fighting stuff exploding, boom. Okay, who here? I don't know, romance. Okay, like that. Documentaries, you know what I'm saying? All right, but this movie was a comedy movie, and some people may say it's corny. It was called Talladega Nights. It was about this guy who's like a race car driver, and there's this scene in the very beginning, kind of sort of beginning of the movie, and they literally go to the table. They're about to eat, they're about to pray, and they pop out their heads to pray, and he's like, "Sweet baby Jesus, oh baby Jesus this, baby Jesus," and all of a sudden his wife cuts him off. And everybody, his father-in-law, his kids, they all start arguing at the table in the middle of prayer. Because they're like, hey, Jesus wasn't always a baby. What are you talking about? Hey, he had a beard. Oh, I like to think of Jesus this way. I like to think of Jesus that way. And they literally have an argument in the middle of praying because they all have a different perception on who Jesus is. How many of y'all have had an experience where it's like, whether it's God or whether it's something else, when you got into an argument with somebody because you saw something different than how they saw it? Okay, I would think everybody has. Again, we all see differently. So, what I'm going to read to y'all today from the Bible, I want you to keep that idea as a backdrop. Right? Keep that image in your mind. Like, okay, we're seeing things differently. We're worried about things. We interpret things. Sometimes it's real, sometimes it's not. Right? But this Bible, like, remember what I just said to y'all about when I was a teen? This Bible was given to me at 14 years old. Now you look at it, now it's like a sticker bonded. I got like stuff highlighted inside, marked off. I didn't open this book until I was 18 years old, and I was going through a crazy situation. I walked into a living room and I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, God's speaking, right? Now I have it, and I have other Bibles, the ones that I use, but it took 4 years before I opened it up on my own. In here, there's this little part in Matthew, and I know, if I'm correct, I was told you guys have been learning about the person of Christ. Is that right? Anybody have heard that? Like, who is Christ? Who? Right? So, Matthew 16, 13 and 20, it says, when Jesus went into the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, who do people say that the Son of Man is? They replied, some say John the Baptist, others Elijah, still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. He said to them, but who do you say that I am? Simon Peter said in reply, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Jesus said to him in reply, blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my heavenly Father. And so I say to you, you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of the netherworld shall not prevail against it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Then he strictly ordered his disciples to tell no one that he was the Messiah. In the very beginning of this, I want to just paint the picture for you. Imagine you like walking through some area, wherever it is. Like somebody shout out to me a place you might be hanging out with your friends. Someone shout out to me. The ball, the building, where? The mall, where else? Hallway, give me another one. Outside. Sorry, you walking outside, you walking in the hallway. You with your boys. This is Jesus and his disciples. Walk with your boys. You get through there, and you hear people like whispering, saying something about you. Right? So you get past that point, and Jesus turns to his disciples, and he's like, yo, what are you saying about? What's that all about? And they all start saying different things. They're like, hey, some people say you're John the Baptist, some say you're Elijah, Some say it this, some say it that, some say this, some say that. It's like, all right, but who do you say that? Now, have you ever been in an experience where you turn like somebody, they see you do something, right, and it's good, right? Like you got a new pair of sneakers, you start talking to some girl, whatever, and it's like, hey, bro, I see you. Anybody ever had that experience before? Like, someone says, I see you. Like, I acknowledge, I know what's going on with you right now. Now, back up. I was raised in the Bronx. My family, my father's side from Dominican Republic, my mother's side from Puerto Rico. Both of them born here. I went to school in Harlem. Like, and I remember thinking like this God thing is outside of what my day-to-day life was. My uncle was a DJ. I grew up in studios. I grew up, like if you look to this day, like I made podcasts, things I've done now. But if I rewind the tapes back, it wasn't going to be about God. It was just going to be about like me and trying to like make money and move forward, etc. When I was 16, I got invited to something kind of like this. It was a youth group. It was talks, different songs, games, different pizza, whatever. And or for those of y'all that went to Young Life Camp, think of it like that. It was just an event like that. And I remember there was this first light bulb that went off in my head, like maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something to this guy. Right? Before that, I'd heard all about. I'd seen pictures of who people thought Jesus was. I didn't watch movies. I went to like classes where they tried to explain it. But at this moment, I'm like, okay, well, maybe there is actually something to this. And if I go back really quickly to that scripture in Matthew 16, when he says, who do you say that I am? Everybody say, who do you say that I am? I believe Jesus asked that of each and every one. He's not going to ask you, what does Brandon say? Oh, what does this parent say? What does this person say? What does that person say? He's like, hey, who am I to you? And if I go back to my own personal time, back when I was 16, and then I move forward all these years, like little by little, like I've been getting to know him better. Right? Like, who here, when you met somebody, you're just like, man, I don't know if I rock with them, I'm not cool with them. But then over time, you're like, you know what? Ain't that bad. They cool. Anybody has somebody they've grown in a friendship or relationship over time? And then some of us have had the opposite. How many of you been cool with somebody, and then you find out like, nah, bro, you ain't really like that. Something different. We grow in relationship over time. You see, they say, if we go back to the image of Matthew 16, they say John the Baptist, Elijah, this, that. When you learn about the person of Christ, you're going to hear about things like Savior, Healer, Teacher, Friend, Shepherd, Light of the World, Messiah, Christ, King of Kings, Son of God, the Word made flesh. This is what other people say Jesus. This is who they say Jesus is. But who do you say that he is? Who do you believe? And how do you believe he can actually show up in your own life? If I was to say that again, look, if I look back, this Bible I didn't open for 4 years. I look at the place where I'm at now. I'm the only person I know that I grew up with that's married with kids and all that other stuff. I'm the only person I know that serves in church. I'm the only person I grew up with that like literally has books out. I wouldn't have thought that when I was 14, 15, 16. And I was just trying to get by, just trying to survive. And my mom was going back to school. I had to take care of my little sister. I wouldn't have thought that. But one of those names for Jesus is the light. Everybody say the light. And the light can reveal things to us that we wouldn't see otherwise. So, for many of us, when we look at this, everything I just said, anything that anybody else just said to you, this just looks like a stack of papers. How many I read? Just a bunch of papers. How many I read? Yes, no? Some of us, when we look at the scriptures, when we look at the things like church, whatever, it's just like, that's just a thing. But again, the light reveals to us stuff that we can't see on our own. So now, how many of y'all can see something through the paper? Right? Here's what I believe. Just like what happened in Matthew 16, what happened with Peter, Jesus responds to Peter and says, hey, you couldn't have known this by your own. My Father had to reveal it to you. In other words, the light had to reveal this to you. I want to invite you into a moment of prayer where if you're somebody in your life, maybe you already been like, okay, maybe I do believe in Jesus. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of unsure. Maybe I once connected with Jesus and now I'm like, I don't really know. I kind of believe in Christ. I'm not. But any of us, if you believe like you need a little bit more light in your life, there's a little bit too much darkness, a little bit too much confusion, I'm going to invite you out to a moment of prayer. We're going to ask that light, whether it's now, here, today, or the days to come, and He'll reveal Himself to you. Can we do that? Everybody just close your eyes.
As always, if this resonates in any way, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all those social media things. Go send me a message on Instagram or something. Drop a comment, right? Like, just let me know how this could be helpful for you. My hope with these videos is that it multiplies my time in ministry, right? That I'm not just delivering this message to the young people that I'm brought to, but that I'm giving it to you so that you can use it as a resource. Study, go in, look at how I intentionally not only spoke to the auditory learner, but I also spoke to the visual learner, right? By giving like an image for them to step into. I also spoke to the kinesthetic learner and how they were able to engage and spoke back to me in certain areas and moments and times, right? The reason why I do all this is I want you to learn. I want you to study. I want you to be better than I am in sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. So make sure you head over to bethesymbol.com, sign up for the email list. And hey, if you are somebody locally in New York or you're somebody even abroad and you want some help, coaching tips, so that is what the 5 M's of ministry are all about. And this is a part of the message, right? And so, yeah, I'm also a part of Young Life here locally in New York. And so if you want to figure out how that collaboration can work, how we can work together on things, reach out. Let's figure out how we can do so. And you can also head over to that giving link and donate because, man, this stuff costs money. Just being able to go around and go places and really encounter young people and bring them to Jesus. Yeah, thank y'all for watching. Hope to see you on the next one. Share this with a friend, all that good stuff. I'm out of here. Peace.